Stanisław Barszczak. Respect for God has disappeared from people's heart. Dear internet users and the brothers and sisters, during my preparation for the priesthood 40 years ago, I watched a beautiful movie called Dances with Wolves. It is a 1990 American epic western film starring, directed and produced by Kevin Costner in his feature directorial debut. It is a film adaptation of the 1988 novel of the same name by Michael Blake that tells the story of Union Army Lieutenant John Dunbar. In film, Costner, who travels to the American frontier to find a military post, and of his dealings with a group of Lakota people. I understood my mistake, Costner said. So far I have only waited. For what? For the Indians to find me, for them to steal my horse? I was too careful from the beginning. This is a bad tactic. I will go to the Indians tomorrow. I don't know if it's wise, but I have become a target, and it makes a bad impression, says the lieutenant in the film on the honeymooning priesthood in me. In my opinion, the moment when Dances with the Wolves was captured by his people and handcuffed was also worth remembering. He then tried to explain to them his outfit and why he left the post, but in response he received kicks from the guards and at one point began to speak in the Indian language that his torturers were not worthy to talk to them and explain anything to them. I like this scene very much. I think that was when he finally became an Indian and even renounced his nationality. Another time, Wind in Her screams that white should be murdered as soon as possible and lists his arguments. And the old man in this film, the chairman of the congregation, listens to everything calmly and replies, "The words of Wind in the Hair are important and I have heard them, but I think we should do this and that." I really like the respect they show each other in discussions, even if they think differently. Dear brothers and sisters, so I appeal to the right, to a dignified life. Everyone on earth has this right regardless of age, genetic conditions, or personal preferences. As the Christians, we believe in God. How old is the universe and how did it begin? Throughout history, countless myths and scientific theories have tried to explain the universe's origins. The most widely accepted explanation is the Big Bang theory. Scientists have long called the expanding universe the Big Bang. However, the term is confusing. The Big Bang model and other models of today. Many people think that the Big Bang is the name of the moment of the creation of the universe, but it's really just the expanding phase. See quantum physics of the contemporary time. Modern science explains the origin of the universe preferably with the help of the Big Bang theory. This modern science says our world was created as a result of the explosion of singularities, or a point in space-time where energy, density, and mass go forever, and each dimension approaches zero. This is a point where there is no with the constant, with the space, time, or matter. So where did this singularity come from? What preceded it? And what triggered the countdown to the Big Bang? Our universe seems fine-tuned for life, with the constant of physical laws having to be within tight boundaries. Does this mean that the universe has a goal of consciousness? Is the directedness of the universe towards consciousness? Is consciousness entirely contingent, or is it something special, even an ultimate object of universal development? We do not know it. However, there is a fertile anthropic principle, a group of postulates and hypotheses in cosmology and philosophy, linking the global properties of the universe and its laws with the existence of an observer in it. Immanuel Kant, famous philosopher of Królewicz city, provided a kind of philosophical foundation for classical physics, and we need Immanuel Kant in quantum physics now. We need someone to show us a new way in physics in our society. We are almost looking for it at the end of the century and now, at the beginning of the third millennium. Observation not only changes reality, but constitutes reality, even justifies it once. Chance is possibly a nickname for God if he refuses to say. Here I also notice the trace of God written in the conscience of man, the correctness of John the 20th and Pius the 10th Pope's conclusions regarding the dignity of the person and human relationships. During an audience at the General Chapter of the Franciscan Order in 1909, the Pope Pius X seemed to be entering a trance. Those present remained motionless and silent. After a few moments, Pius opened his eyes, rose from his seat, and exclaimed, "What I have seen is terrifying. Will I be the one, or will he be the successor? It is certain that the Pope will leave Rome, and on leaving the Vatican, he will have to pass by the corpse of his priests. Do not tell this to anyone while I am alive," he said to his priest. Just before his death, Pius X had another vision. The very name who fled over the bodies of his brother. He will take refuge in some kind of hideout, but after a short break, he will die an unnatural death. Respect for God has disappeared from people's hearts. They even want to obliterate the memory of God. Beloved brothers and sisters, this perversity is nothing but the beginning of the last days of the world. During his pontificate, Pius X was less formal and more accessible than his predecessors. Each evening he invited priests to dinner at the Vatican City, and often sneaked out of the Vatican through the gardens to visit the sick in local hospitals. He improved priesthood formation, instituted improved liturgies and music, and insisted on high-quality preaching from his priests and bishops. He modernized canon law and introduced progressive science through the Biblical Institute in Rome under the guidance of the Jesuits. Pius X also lowered the age when young people first received the Eucharist and fought against modernism and theological teaching he considered heresy and atheism. He spoke forcefully against war and violence and had visions that war would break out in 1914, killing many innocent people who proved to be an apt description of World War I. He did not live to see the long-term effects of the war, but his prophecies are still valid today. Pius X supported immigrants from Europe who fled to North and South America. He created many new dioceses and appointed the new bishops in the Americas. In the last year of his life, he gave many private audiences to the poor and the sick. Rumors of miraculous healings began to spread throughout Rome after people visited him. 2 nuns who were healed through his prayers confirmed the healing after his death and supported his canonization to holiness. Pius X died at the age of 79. The Italian press wrote, "The saint is dead." Quote end. There are many paths in this life, but the most important few people are able to follow. The happy moment this summer were his last in life. As I said, his every day of Pius X began with a miracle. His time on earth was passing and it would soon pass forever. Words are engraved on his tombstone. Pope Pius X, poor and yet rich, gentle and humble of heart, invincible intercessor of the Catholic faith, whose constant striving was to renew everything in Christ. Quote end. The Universal Church celebrates his holy life and example on August 21. He was the first pope of modern times to be canonized. So, as the Christians, we believe that the cosmos is the work of God, as a Father full of love for his creation, as well as an eternal observer of all phenomena. Also, every work of God is also a reflection of his infinite wisdom, a reflection that the brighter the work is on the scale of perfection. With a conscious view of the cosmos, the need, the authority, and its divine origin increases in us anew. In our epoch, everything in the universe has a beginning. But how can the universe as a whole have a beginning? Does the cosmos come with a start date? Does the universal commencement make sense? What would it possibly mean? And what if there are multiple universes? Does the entire multiverse have a beginning? Afterwards, cosmologists sat down with another once to talk about speculative physics, the limits of the observable universe, and more and more. Cosmologists say on first nanoseconds of the universe and the theory of multiple Big Bang. More than one universe? It's a ridiculous question, no more. How could multiple universes be generated? And can we ever find evidence, one way or another, for their actual existence? From the problem of the second law of thermodynamics to the new radical twist theory, Cosmos and consciousness seem utterly different. Cosmos encompassing the vast universe. Consciousness emerging from the tiny brains. Yet, consciousness is the basis of religion, and some cosmologists speak quietly, profoundly about consciousness. A few scientists and philosophers claim that, even without God, consciousness can be something of a cosmic imperative. What is nothing? What if nothing ever existed? Scientists claim that the universe came from nothing, but what's the nature of nothing? That's where the confusion lies. The technologies of the third millennium reveal the beauty of the ongoing cosmos. See prop of Webb, James Webb, etc. So chance is possibly a nickname for God it refuses to sign. We've come a long way in our understanding of dark energy now. In previous episodes we've looked at how our universe is paradoxically flat and how dark energy is exponentially accelerating the expansion of the universe. In Space-time, we dive into the true nature of dark energy, how its anti-gravity affects and its other properties are having such bizarre effects on our universe. Have you ever asked what is beyond the edge of the universe? And have you ever been told that an infinite universe that has no edge? You were told wrong, in a sense. We can define a boundary to an infinite universe, at least mathematically. And it turns out that boundary may be as real or even more real than the universe it contains. Quantum theory explains the microworld. See quantum physics of today. Science. General relativity, discovered by Albert Einstein, explains gravity and the structure of the universe. The wars. The problem is that the two are not friends. They do not get along. They are not compatible, but they must. That's the task of quantum gravity. So, simultaneously, the horrors of wars have shadowed our path in life. The soil of our land is saturated and soaked with the blood of the victims of genocides. See war between Russia and Ukraine. The more division the authorities cultivated, the more we worked for inclusion. The more aggression they showed us, the more time we devoted to peace and reconciliation. See Pacem in Terris by the Pope John the 2010th. The more civilians they tortured and slaughtered, the more my instinct guided me to reach out to all segments of society. The more they tried to erase the evidence, the more risk we took to document the atrocities and the harms inflicted on humans and the environment. Because one day we thought, one day the world will wake up and realize the repercussion of overlooking our suffering, and on that day the souls of victims will finally find peace. If civil authorities legislate for or allow anything that is contrary to that order, and therefore contrary to the will of God, neither the laws made or the authorizations granted can be binding on the consciences of the citizens, since God has more right to be obeyed than man. Quote end. Peace on earth, the deep yearning of human beings of all times, can only be established and consolidated in full respect of the order established by God. John 20, the 23rd set. The true and solid peace of nations consists not in equality of arms, but in mutual trust alone. Peace must be founded on truth, built according to justice, vivified and integrated by charity. Beloved people of goodwill, there is no absolute time and space. Augustine, Einstein, see his teaching. Time can be compared to weight on a balance of nature. Moreover, someone liked the cosmic order. He had already seen it. The earth is constantly opening up to its miracles, and as a result, it will not be favorable to the fate of mankind. For the fullness of life, within 50 years, we need to find a new planet so that we can feel more in solidarity with human fate and find ourselves again in our home. Thank you.